Good morning, everybody in church. Another Sunday and the last days, right? We don't know, but it seems like it. So anyways, we just sung about judgment cometh, right? And that's exactly what my title sermon is, the judgment. I want to talk about this subject, and many times if you talk about the judgment, people already get an allergic reaction. They don't want to hear anything about judgments. Judgment is too scary, so let's just run away from that, right? And many people just fight you because of this thing, but it's biblical. And one of the books from all the religions that talks about judgment is the Bible. The Bible is all about judgment. And now, last week I already talked about that many Christians, right away they say don't judge, right? The don't judge crowd. You just say something, right away don't judge. The whole Bible is about judgment. Everything is judgment, but there's another judgment coming, and that's the last judgment. And so again, the title of the sermon is the judgment. And we see that many people don't like it. And last week I ended with another verse, and we can go there. 2 Timothy 4:4. 2 Timothy 4:4. And I want to continue there because I could not finish the sermon. So I had to add something to this. So, and many people seek to other religions and other movements. And New Age, the New Age religion is very famous right now because there's no judgment in there. And the people that scream don't judge the hardest or the loudest, most of the time those people are the ones that don't want to be judged. So that's typical. And I remember even, I had a friend when I was younger, and he had a car, was a nice car, and on the back of his car he had a nice sticker of Tupac. Tupac was a famous rapper. And I'm ashamed to say that I listened to that garbage too when I was younger. But his famous song was, "Only God Can Judge Me." That's a song, and it was a big quote. So this friend of mine had this big sticker of Tupac on the back of his car, and it says, "Only God Can Judge Me." And then I was thinking like, yeah, that's a good sentence. Yeah, that's not good at all. Only God can judge you? I mean, God sees everything. He sees everything you do. Are you sure that you want to brag about this thing? But this is something that is worldly. This is worldly wisdom. And look at this. This is a verse, 2 Timothy 4:4. I want to focus on this part. It says here, "And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables." So it says many people will turn away from the truth. So let's say here's the truth, you turn away from it. You don't want to hear the truth because judgment is in truth, right? Many people don't want to hear the truth about themselves. They rather live in denial or a lie because they cannot face the mirror. Some people just cannot accept that they have sinned. Look, it's a big part of salvation to admit that you are a sinner. Most people, or a lot of people, they don't want to admit this thing. Look, if you have something to work on, just face it and work on it. Sometimes I do something and I regret it. Sometimes I say something stupid or I do something stupid and it's not nice. But you have to face the mirror and tell yourself that was wrong. And then you fix it. Because if you admit that was wrong, you can fix it, and next time you improve yourself and you get better and better. But some people just don't want to admit. No, it's all the other person. Nowhere is blame found in you. It's always the other person. And we have this sentence or this saying, it's called a snowflake generation. So now we have a snowflake generation, and it's just like a snowflake. You just touch it and it already melts, right? That's where the name comes from. And that means there's a whole generation of people right now that they get offended by the smallest thing. You just have to say one thing and they get offended and they start crying or shouting or screaming at you. And that's not good. Be a little bit tougher, especially in these times. But that's Hollywood. Hollywood did years and years of work to get this generation weak. Because Satan knows he has but a short time. And he's ready to take his power. He thinks he's going to win from the battle of God. But you see, he's going to take his power right now in the world. We see this world is upside down right now. Satan is taking over. You don't have to be scared because we know the end of the story. But he's trying this. And before he could take over, he had to make sure there's a whole generation of people that get easily offended and that are so scared of judgment. But judgment is good. You have to judge everything. So we see here, you turn away the ears from truth, and where do you go to? And shall be turned unto fables. And what is a fable? A fable is a made-up story. It's a made-up story. And if it's not Bible, it's a made-up story. You can call it religion, but God calls it fable. It is not true. And I have 5 fables or 5 belief systems that people believe. And when you go on the street and you talk with people, you know that many people believe in this thing. And one of the things that I hear a lot is reincarnation. One of the things is reincarnation. Many people still believe in when you die, you will come back. Of course, Hinduism is one of the famous religions that brought reincarnation. But many people that are not a Hindu also believe the same thing. They believe when you die, you just get a new body, and then you learn from your mistakes and you do it over and over again. Why do people love this thing? Because there's no judgment involved. There's no judgment. You just do it over, you have another life, and another life, and then you do it over and over again. It's not true. I even found it from the Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 2, verse 22, you can look it up, easy, 222. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 22, it says here, as a person sheds worn-out garments and wears new ones, likewise, at the time of death, the soul casts off its worn-out body and enters a new one. This is the religion of Hinduism. You know how many Hindus there are in the world? Many Hindus. And they believe this. So just like your clothing get old, and they rip, and they get old and dusty and whatever, what do? You throw away your clothing, you go to the store, and you buy some new clothing. And the Bhagavad Gita tells you, your life is the same way. It tells you that when you die, your body is old, it's done, and you get a new body. And with this new body, you can do it all over again. But why do people love it? There's no judgment. It's not true. So we have to understand this is not true. One of the things that I also hear a lot of time, when you die, it's just black. It's just black. I had a good friend of mine for years. He believed this. He called himself a Christian. He believed in Jesus, he said. But he believed that when you die, it's just black. Everything is over. You don't have remembrance. Everything is black. That's a scary thought. That's a very scary thought. When I was younger and I was not a Christian, people told me this thing. Yeah, when you die, it's just black. And when I was thinking about this, even when I was a child, that was a scary thought. Just black, just this. So you get this beautiful thing as a soul, and then you get this beautiful life, and look how amazing everything is. And then you live your life for maybe 89 years if you're lucky, and that's it. Everything is black. I never believed that. Even when I was not a Christian, I never believed that. But my friend also said, yeah, it's just black. But then later, I got saved, of course, and I wanted to get him saved also. So I found some verses about eternal life, about hell, about heaven. There is something after this. And I prayed with him, he got saved, and now he finally understands, there's a lot of things after this, but you have to make the choice in this life. But why do people believe this? No judgment. Again, no judgment. It's easy. If everything gets black when you die, you can do whatever you want. Nobody says you're wrong or you're right. No, it's just black, do whatever. God is a fair God. He's an honest God. That should not be fair. The third one is hell is on this earth. The third thing I hear many times is hell is on this earth. So everything you get, every punishment you get is on this earth. So you pay for your sins right here, and that hell is here. But every time when I talk to people, it's so easily to be debunked. I tell them about hell, they say, no, hell is here. And I always do this thing. I'll be quiet, and I say, okay, mister or ma'am, look around you. Look around you. And then they see everything peaceful, birds are chirping, I say, is this hell? Is this really hell? And then they look at themselves, yeah, that's foolish thing. They just repeat what they hear. Hell is not here. In hell, there is no hope. In hell, there is no hope. And on earth, even though you go to the hardest times, there is still hope. Even if you go to the tough times with illness or financial, you have hope that is going to be fixed, right? So when there's hope, there's a reason to continue. But in hell, there's no hope. It's not like, oh, when I pay for my sins, I get out of here, or oh, I get just 500 years and it's done. That's not hell. Hell is eternal, just like heaven is eternal. Your soul is eternal. It cannot stop. But you have to make a choice. Is it heaven or hell? And it's your choice. Many people say, oh, God will judge. I say, yeah, that's true. But this judgment is according to what you choose. We get this special thing of God, and it's called free will. And with your free will, you can choose what you want to do. Every morning when you wake up, you can choose, are you going to live right or wrong? You can choose. Yes, we make mistakes, but you choose next day to do it better. It's your choice. And salvation is also a choice. It's not forced by somebody. You have this whole group in Christianity, it's called Calvinism. They say everything is determined. God already knows who is saved and not. Well, partly it's right because he does know, but it's still according to your free will. So he knows if you will accept Jesus or not. So this is something also without judgment. They say you pay here and then it's done. It's not true. We see in Romans 2:15. You can go to Romans 2:15. Romans 2:15. I read this and I really love this little part of the Bible. Romans 2:15. Chapter 2, verse 15. And this is actually God telling you how you work. Even if you are born in an unreligious family. It says here, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. So what does the Bible say? When you are born, God already wrote some laws in your heart. So just like if you buy a computer, if you go to the store and you buy a laptop or a computer, it never comes empty. There is always a Windows or an iOS, or if you buy a phone, it has Android or whatever. Something is installed on this computer or this phone. Otherwise, you cannot work with it. Nobody knows how to install Windows these days, you know. So it has already a standard operating system, right? So you can use it. But even if you remove the Windows, it's still a computer. And God did the same. When you are born, it's not empty. It's not like, oh, I have no idea what is good and right and wrong. I have no idea. That's not how God puts you in the world. A child already knows what is right and what is wrong. How? Because it's written in their hearts. There's already a little law written by God. That's your standard operating system. So even if you're born a Muslim or a Hindu or a Christian or non-religious, this standard is already there. And that's why many people say, oh, all the books are the same. All the books are the same. They say, yeah, the same teaches, the Bible teaches the same, the Bhagavad Gita teaches the same, and the Quran. Yeah, because people are people. We are made by one God, but there's also only one way to get to this God. So this is written in the hearts. And it even says here, their conscience also bearing witness. This is your conscience. If you do something wrong, you feel guilty. Why? This is written in your heart. It's already there that you feel guilty. You don't know why, but this is an automatic feeling. So God already put something in there. And even judging, when I read this, I saw like, hey, even judging is written in our hearts. Look at the last sentence. It says here, while accusing or else excusing one another. If you accuse somebody, what does that mean? Hey, you did wrong, right? It's judging. Or excusing, like, okay, I forgive you, let's pass around. So even judging is written in our hearts. So if you say, don't judge, it's not natural. You should judge everything, but judge righteously. Don't say one thing and you do the same. That's a different case. So there's already something installed in your heart. And I believe also that God put something in our hearts that we want to find a God. Even if you are in a non-religious family, I came from a non-religious family. I never heard my father or mother say the word God. Can you imagine? The word Jesus or the word God was not even found in our house. A Bible, I did not touch a Bible when I was like in my 20s or something, you know. Never something like that. But I always knew that there's a God. Since I was like 7 years or whatever, I knew there is a God. I didn't know what the way was, but I knew there's a God. Always knew it. And I don't know why. But God put that in your heart. And that's why Jesus said, seek and thou shalt find. So you have something in your heart. You want to find who is the real God. If you really are seeking, you really will find. That's a promise of God. It's not seek and you, maybe you will find. No, seek and you will find. And it's true. I was seeking and I was very late, but I found it at last, so before I died. So it already says like, this is in your heart, written, standard. But the Bible also says, a fool said in his heart, there is no God. So you see, the law is written in the heart. So you know it's true. So God says, even if you see in your heart there's no God, you're just a fool. He cannot even work with you. Because many people say, I don't believe in a God, but they do believe in a God. They just don't know which God. But if somebody really says in his heart, there's no God, God says, you're a fool. You're an idiot. Because it's written in you. Everybody knows there's something. You know, that's crazy. So we know that this is without excuse. The fourth thing I want to talk about is, people say to me, I believe that this life, when you are born, it's all an experience. It's just an experience. You come in this life and you learn something, and when you learn something, you go back, and then you learn from what you did on this earth, and then you go back again. So there's no right, and there's no wrong, there's no judgment involved. It's just a learning experience. This is very dangerous, because you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. And there's a very famous Satanist called Aleister Crowley, and this is exactly what he said. He said, do what thou wilt, that shall be the whole of the law. He said, do what thou wilt. Do what you want to do. And people love this, right? Everybody wants to do what they want to do without judgment. But judgment is something from the Bible. And I remember that when I was a little bit younger, I was still searching. My own mother, non-Christian, she came with this book. And the book was called, in Dutch, it was Het Sprookje van de Dood. Dus the fable of dying. And I remember 3 years ago in the Dutch service, I read a chapter from that. There's a little fly, I don't know what it is. But this book, I wrote some passages from this book. And this whole book, I read it, and I liked the book. Why? Because it was about a little soul. This book was about a little soul was in heaven. And God told this little soul, hey, do you want to learn something? And this soul says, yes, I want to learn something. Do you see that earth over there, this globe? You can go to this earth and you can experience good and bad. And when you're done, you go back to heaven. And then you just enjoy what you learned. And this whole book is about this. And then it doesn't matter what this soul does. He just returns and everything is fine. And this soul was shocked like, oh, there's so many bad things. So he don't want to go back. But after a couple of years or a couple of time, he said, no, let me go back again. And foolishly, and I'm ashamed to say, I believe this. I had no God, I had no Bible, I had no foundation. For me, it was like, yeah, my own mother gives me this, my sister read it, other people in my family read it. This was like, yeah, this is truth. But why do people love those fables? It has no judgment. No judgment at all. Just have an experience. And by the way, Freemasons, you know, the secret societies, they teach the same thing. When you go to the lodges, they have the black and white checkerboard. They say the black and the white is the same. It's one, just like the yin-yang. There's a little black and the white and the black. They say you can only be good if you are really bad. That's what they teach in a later degree. So when you want to be good, you first have to be bad. So this is a lie from the devil. Why not the other way around? Why not, hey, if you want to be bad, first be good? No, the devil turns it around and he says, no, first you have to experience how to be real bad. And then you can know how to be good. But the devil knows when you come to the point that you are at that point, that you are really bad, there's no return. Maybe God says, I'm going to reprobate you. It's done with you. The line is cut off. So this is a lie of the devil. But again, no judgment. But the Bible says there is a judgment. And the fifth one is the biggest. I want to talk about the last fable. And this is the biggest fable. Evolution. Evolution is the biggest fable that is even taught in schools. I remember I went to an atheistic school. Evolution was taught there. They actually taught me that I came from a monkey. Everybody came from a monkey. So if you believe you come from a monkey, yeah, you're going to behave as a monkey. You know, you think like I'm an animal. You know how many people think like, yeah, we're all beasts. I heard this in this country. Yeah, we're all animals. That's what people think. We're all animals, and when we die, so and so. How disrespectful. That's this. If you think you come from an animal, yeah, you have no judgment. You do whatever. No, God made you perfectly. It's such an amazing thing. But evolution is taught in school. And you know that if you listen to the scientists that teach evolution, they have no idea what they're talking about. They say it's a big bang theory. It's just a theory. Nothing is proven. Some people say, oh, everything is proven. Nothing is proven. They have no idea. They say we came from a bacteria. So there was this soup of bacteria. They said it, a soup of bacteria, just like what you buy in the store. And this soup, all this bacteria starts boiling, and then there was this big bang, this big explosion. And this big explosion created everything what you see right here. Do you think that's logical? Have you ever seen an explosion that made something? An explosion breaks something. It doesn't make something. So from this explosion, this bacteria came in the water. This is what they teach, eh? And this bacteria became a fish, and then a bigger fish, and then it got on land, and it got a tail, and then it got a reptile, and then it became a monkey. And now we are here. Do you really think that it happened like that? Well, most people believe this fable. And the one question I always ask if somebody on the street says, we come from monkeys, I say, okay, then why are there still monkeys? If we come from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Are they left behind? Did they not pay attention or whatever, you know? What happened with those monkeys? It's weird. That's what people believe. So they believe in the universe and everything because a real God with a personal mind, I can say, he will judge. He will judge. It's not the universe. People say, oh, I believe in the universe. Yeah, well, that's easy. Universe. The universe doesn't judge. But this is why it's so popular. So why there is no judgment? And why do you think that the Bible is hated? Why do you think the Bible is hated at this moment? People start really hating the Bible. And I'm going to predict you right now, there will come a point that they say the Bible is going to be hate speech. They're going to label this book. I don't think it's going to take that long. Maybe 5 to 10 years. They're going to label this book hate speech. And they're going to ban this book. In China, they're already busy with banning this book. It's going to happen. This same book, we can openly preach right now. It's going to be banned. It's going to be illegal. I'm telling you. Because they say, oh, judgment, judgmental, unloving God. And now Christians, so many Christians, you know, every week I'm in battles online. I'm messing battles, and I just do this to reach a certain percent that do want to hear. But most Christians fight against you. Oh, you're so judgmental. Oh, the first stone and whatever. And they repeat themselves. They say, do not judge. The Bible says, look, the spiritual can judge all things, you know, but judge righteously. This is a scary thing. Let's go to Hebrews 9:26. Hebrews 9, chapter 9, verse 26. Judgment is something that people don't like. I love judgment. I love to have rules. I'm so happy that I have rules. I'm happy that there's a God above me that tells me if I'm wrong or not. I'm happy with that. Before I was saved, I had no rules. Nobody taught me what is good and right, except my heart, of course. Follow your heart, right? The heart is deceitful above all things. But I'm happy to know if I'm wrong, and fix it. Hebrews 9:26. This is what the Bible says. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world. This is Jesus talking. But now, once in the end of the world, hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. This was Jesus. He sacrificed himself for the sin. But look at 27. And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this, the judgment. This is what reality is. And this is what people don't like. This is reality. You die once, and then the judgment. If you're saved, you can pass by this judgment. Jesus will hide you and what you did. You can hide behind Jesus. So can you imagine that if you are in judgment, you can just hide behind Jesus like, no, it's okay. He says, no, let him through. He's saved. But this is happening. Do you think that people in this generation, do you think that people like this? Wants to die? So reincarnation goes out the window, And people say, yeah, every Hindu, every Muslim can be saved. No, they believe not this. Wants to die. And let's go to Revelation 20:11. A little bit further. Revelation 20:11. Important. And when I read this, really picture what it says. Just picture a throne and everything. Because then you get scared. And if you read this and you believe this, start preaching about the gospel. Tell people about this. This is a scary situation. Revelation 20:11. Look at this. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. By the way, just to pause, the dead are the people that did not get saved. They still have a consciousness, but they are pronounced dead by the Lord. Before God. And the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. You see? Do you really want to be judged by your works? Nobody wants to be judged by their works. Get saved, you open your eyes in hell, just like the rich man. So it says here, death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. So hell is in the middle of the earth. This is the physical hell in the middle of this earth. But the second death is death and hell are cast into the lake of fire. That's a different place. I don't know, maybe something spiritual, I don't know, but this is the second death. It says here, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Now you have a choice. Do you believe this or not? If you say, yes, I believe the Bible, and yes, I believe this is true, should you not talk to people? Should you not warn people about this thing? Do you want your neighbor to go to this place? Do you want your family to go to this place? I don't. Please tell people about this thing. This is very scary. And I'm going to almost round it up. So most people, they postpone judgment. They're going to postpone. You know how many people, when I talk to people on the street, and they say like, do you want to know for sure? One time, this was crazy. I saw this woman, and I said, hey, everybody dies, right? They say, yeah, everybody dies. I said, okay, when that day comes for you, are you sure that you are going to heaven? I always thought like this. And this woman says, oh, this is a question in my mind every day. Every day I think about this thing. So I was happy, right? I said, okay, great. Do you have one moment? Because I can show you from the Bible how to go to heaven. I was thinking like, this is my lucky day, right? And the woman said, oh, right now? Oh, no, I don't have time right now. And she went away. So you have this question every day about how to go to heaven. Then somebody wants to tell you in 1 minute, and you say, no, I don't have time. Let me go away. Do you understand? This is weird. People postpone it. You know how many times I see people, and I say like, hey, do you want to know the gospel? And they say like, yeah, another time. Another time. How do you know you have another time? Maybe you get hit by the bus tomorrow. I don't know. I don't hope for you, but we don't know. I can hit by a bus today, and it's over. So if somebody wants to give you the gospel, and then tells you like another time, you don't know. You have no idea. Look at 2 Corinthians. You can go to 2 Corinthians 6:2. 2 Corinthians 6:2. In this verse, it says when you need to be saved. This verse tells you about when to get saved. When. This is very clear. For he said, I have heard thee in a time accepted, and in the day of salvation have I succored thee. Succour means give assistance or help to. So that means the Holy Spirit helps you to set the table, to get to the moment, to get saved. It says here, behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Does it say later is the time of salvation? Or next week is the time of salvation? Now. What does now mean? As quickly as possible. Every second of the day is now. Now, now, now. When you get the chance to get saved, get saved. Don't say like, oh, later. And I heard from somebody, I got permission to tell the story, but somebody said to me, like, she has a grandfather. And his grandfather, she's saved, her grandmother is saved, but the grandfather is not saved. And he says, he heard a lot of Bible, he knows the Bible. And he says, no, when I get 100 years, when I am 100 years, then I will accept Jesus. I mean, really? 100 years? I mean, how big is the chances that you will not make 100 years? It's just to postpone. And I'm betting you on everything. When this person gets 100, he still don't want to hear. This is just to postpone and just not to get into this thing. Just get saved right away. This is so only. Because when you get to this point, you say, oh, if only. If only I knew, if only I had this thing. And that's the same when you are young. You know, I remember many young people, they eat whatever. They drink soft every day, they eat junk food every day, they eat unhealthy. And what do they say? Later, when I'm older, I'm going to start eating healthy. Later, when I'm older, I'm going to start this thing. Right? I said it too. You know, I'm guilty of this too. Later, then it's going to be fixed. But then you get some illness or you get some disease and you can never get rid of the disease. And what do you say? Ah, if only, right? If only I had fixed my health earlier. And that's what everybody does. They postpone it. They say later, later, later. And it's the same with families. I remember this taxi driver. I'm not going to tell which one. But he was telling us about, he has a wife, but he was cheating with his wife. So he had another woman, right? And I said, you have to stop this thing. That's not healthy. He says, yeah, in a couple of months, I'm going to stop all these things and I'm going to stop. Why not right now? Why in a couple of months? He always postponing. But when the point comes that the wife figures out, and then the wife divorces him and takes all his money and his children, what he's going to say? If only I had stopped this thing earlier, right? And that's the same with the judgment. This judgment will come if you're not saved. And what do people say before the throne of God? If only I listened. I'm going to tell you one thing. There was a sad story. It just happened. Like, there's a guy in my neighborhood, one street further. And I talked to many people in the neighborhood about the gospel, right? And there's one neighbor, I saw him on the street, and I talked to him. And they said, look, are you sure you are saved? Do you want to know how to go to heaven? He said, yeah, I want to know, but not now, later. So I say, okay, when? Because I know I live close to you. I said, when? He said, yeah, 2 o'clock. So I was already tired because I had a long day, so I was like, okay, I have to do this. 2 o'clock, sharp, 2 o'clock, I was in front of his door. And I said, hey, is your grandfather there? Because his grandchildren was playing there. And he said, yeah, I'm going to look. Yeah, he said he has no time, come back 4 o'clock. I said, okay, 4 o'clock. So I went back home, still not resting, waiting. 4 o'clock sharp, I was in front of his door. I said to the grandchildren, hey, is your grandfather at home? Again, they went inside. And they said, yeah, he's asleep now, he doesn't have time. So I was like, what is this guy? So then after weeks, I still saw this guy on the street, right? In the store, I was next to him at the store. He had so many chances to get to this point. He did not do it. 2 weeks ago, he died. There was a dead end also 2 houses further. And I was hoping it was not this guy, because I did not know in the beginning. I saw, everybody in white the whole week. And I was really searching, who am I gonna miss? And it was this guy. So I was thinking, like, you see, this guy is in front of the throne of judgment. If only 2 times I came to his door ready to preach him the gospel, he could get saved right then. Remember this thing. Don't postpone it. If you are now in church and you are not sure if you are saved, get saved now. Get saved. After the sermon, pastor can show you, I can show you. Just say, hey, I'm not sure. 10 minutes on the table. Let's just talk about the gospel, make sure you're saved. Don't leave this church today if you're not saved. I believe everybody's saved, but I cannot see your heart. So make sure that you are sure, because if you are in this throne of judgment, it's too late. And you're going to tell yourself, if only. So I'm going to stop right here. I went a little bit over time, but thank you for listening.